And welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review. This is NashOH or NashO, and he's from Stormtrooper Chile. Stormtrooper Chile, what is happening, you guys? All right, NashOH is really just wanting to focus on two things that make him crystals, and that is a regular arena and ships arena, and that is it. He really wants me to go in depth on those two, and I've looked at his roster, and this lineup that he's using right now is kind of the meta that has been the meta for the last 4 to 5 months. It's still going to be part of the meta, and it's completely viable even against the up-and-coming Ray teams. So I would highly suggest you stick with this. Now, I was wondering, you've got Gear 12 meta team. Why are you not in the top 20 or the top 5 or top 10? You know, what's going on? And so I went ahead and looked at all your mods, and that is your issue. So your very, very, very first assignment is going to be for the rest of your life playing this game, for however long that is, whether it's 2 months, 2 years, whatever, you will farm mods. And you will do it every single day until you get the mods that you feel like you need. Now, that means you're going to have to put some energy, even if it's the accrued energy, but some energy towards mods every single day. I know there's a lot of characters in Cantina you're probably going to want to farm, but I would put all your energy now, because you have the characters, you have the meta team, you have a team that should lead you for the next few months. I would highly recommend that if you're going to do refreshes for characters, that's fine, but for your main energy, and if you have the ability to not farm someone for a period of time, to do that as well, and to put any refreshes into mods. Also look at the store 4 times a day and try to find them for credits. Always make sure you have 5 million credits sitting around. It's hard to do, but once you have a credit heist, keep all of it, don't spend any of it, and then the next time there's a credit heist, you can spend that away. But make sure there's always some in the reserve. So I'm going to go through each character one by one, because that's really the best way to do this. And we're going to go ahead and start with your leader, CLS. Now, he's the one that you've modded basically as the best of all of your characters. You've got 2 Zetas on him. That's phenomenal. You have a speed set, and then you have a health set, and that's not wrong, but I personally would do a speed set and a potency set. And then as far as what goes in the slots, of course, you have speed and the speed arrow. I would definitely do a speed arrow like you have. You have critical damage. That's fine. You have tenacity. This is one of the 2 characters I'd probably recommend tenacity in this slot, because you have his Zeta, so definitely this would be fine. And you have protection. Also, when we look at stats, we notice that you have him at 218 speed. Not bad. I know you're struggling to get, you know, additional speed, so 218 is not bad at all. It's still very competitive as far as getting over 200 speed. Again, this is the one character I feel like that you farmed and the mods and got the right mods and did it all correctly. So CLS, good job. For R2-D2, there's one thing that you have to get him, and that is fast. He needs to be the fastest character you have on your lineup. You have him double Zeta'd, which is pretty amazing. And you have a health set, a crit chance set, and a potency set. That's okay. But I personally would you can leave a crit chance set in, that's fine. But I would personally switch the rest out for a speed set, so that way you make him faster. You need to make R2-D2 the fastest character on here. As far as the arrow, this needs to not be health but speed. Now, I know you have a 16 speed secondary, and that is really good, but you could get another 14 speed on this character by putting this into a speed mod with a speed arrow with 30 speed primary stat. And I know I'm asking for a lot, and you're going to go, well, I don't have all of these mods, and that's fine. You need to start farming them and get them. And so I would farm the speed mods for the next month, probably, just to get as many speed mods as humanly possible. And then you're going to have to, if you don't understand how speed drops, you can always watch my video where I talk about speed secondaries, and that will really clear a lot of stuff up, so you don't waste a bunch of credits. As far as this, you have defense, and I get it, that's okay, but I would probably, on R2-D2, put crit chance here, and the reason for that is you may use him in different compositions in the future, and crit chance it just raises his overall special and physical critical chance rating, and it's going to help him to do more damage more often. As far as the multiplexer or the plus, you have offense, and I get it, that's pretty good, but I would put a protection plus and a protection circle. And the reason for that is just to make him more durable. He doesn't need that additional offense. Also, I like to say your R2 was at 196 speed. You really want to get it over 250 speed. And I know that sounds like a lot, 54 extra speed, but I mean, you could have gotten 14 of that alone just from the speed arrow, and then you'd be left with getting 30 additional speed through 5 extra slots, which is about 6 extra speed per slot. It is doable, but you, like I said, are going to have to farm those mods. Now let's take a look at Han. Han Solo, you actually picked the right sets. I'd probably do crit chance and crit damage as well to raise both of those stats. You have him Zeta'd in Gear 12, so that's awesome. I did notice that his speed was a paltry 145. It absolutely needs to be over 200 if you want to be in the top of the game. And you've been playing, by the way, for a year and a half, and you say you're a Dolphin, so going into that, a year and a half, you really, these 200 speeds should be able to put you into the top 10 for sure. You have crit avoidance, and I am not sure why he's so slow that it's not going to matter. They're going to get so many attempts at hitting him that they are going to, in fact, hit him with critical damage. So I would do a speed arrow here, not health. I would do a crit damage triangle. And then here I would actually put an offense or protection, but preferably offense plus, and a protection circle is fine, and then get him over 200 speed. For General Kenobi, I would actually do a speed set and a defense set. You already have the defense set, one of them on there, but I would also do a speed set. You have his speed at 162. I would be shooting for over 200. All characters over 200 except for R2-D2 over 250. For the arrow, you have speed, so that's good. For this, you have crit damage. I would actually do protection. He's a tank, and he's going to take a lot of damage because he's constantly taunting. He's a disruptive taunt, and so he's going to constantly take that. So I wouldn't be too worried about making him deal damage. I'd be worried more about making him absorb as much damage as possible so your Han Solo can do the damage required. And then you have tenacity on General Kenobi. Tenacity is virtually wasted, so I would definitely do protection plus here, and I would do a protection plus here. And of course, with 3 protections, you are going to have a ridiculous protection pool. Currently, your protection pool is only 48,000. You can get this over 70K, and you'll have 30,000 more protection to protect your character. It's going to last a lot longer. That's much more durability. And lastly, Grand Admiral Thrawn, I see you Zeta'd his unique, which is awesome. Again, you have the right team. You have all the right Zetas. You've taken them all to Gear 12. You're working on Thrawn. This looks awesome. For his set, I would do an offense set because he does primarily special damage. He's not really ever going to crit. It's really hard for him to crit. And you did a crit chance and crit damage set, kind of like a physical damage attacker. So I would swap all those out for an offense set. And then the second set, because you have 2 more slots after offense, would be either a health set or a defense set. A defense set would allow him to take more damage. A health set would just give him a little higher health pool. Either one of those would be good, but offense set and your first order look great. You should be able to farm the offense sets as well as speed sets. But primarily speed is what you're going to need to get for all these characters. And then for the speed arrow, you have health, but I would do speed there. Here, I would do a protection triangle because he regenerates his own and somebody else's protection 40%. And so the higher his protection rate is, the more protection he'll recover when he uses that ability. For the plus, I would do, you have tenacity, and that is fine. He's, again, one of the only 2 characters really in the game where tenacity makes a significant difference, and so I would definitely use tenacity here or protection, but tenacity's fine. That will make fewer of the debuffs land, which is excellent. And then for the circle, I would do protection, which is what you have. Again, you're going to shoot, you have him at 168 speed. I would be shooting for 200 speed. So you want to know why you've played for a year and a half and haven't been able to break really the top 50, but you're so close and you've got all the right characters and all the right Zetas. It's mods. It comes down to mods. It's amazing what mods can do. And I know you've probably been farming mods and saying, you know, this is what I have, this is the best I have, but there were a lot of wrong things in wrong slots. So you want to switch all the right things into the right slots. And then 2, you want to just keep farming the heck out out as the speed mod sets, which you can do because you have all your resistance on point, and just continue to get as much speed sets as possible with speed secondaries. You really need those speed secondaries. I wouldn't worry about any other stat for now. I would worry about getting your speed sets and getting speed secondaries, and I would do this probably going to take you 3 to 4 months of farming to get the right mods for your arena team, combined with the existing mods that you already have. Once you get your speeds where I'm suggesting over 200 and with R2D2 over 250, you will definitively very easily be able to get into your top 50 because you're so close and your speeds are so low right now that that is what's keeping you from being able to compete with the top 50. Now let's go ahead and take a look at ships. So you have a Chimera, that's awesome. A 5-star Chimera is as good as a 6-star Chimera. Once you get to 7-star, you're going to unlock an extra slot for an extra backup on ships, although the extra slot is truly really unnecessary. On defense, they're going to kill you before that last ship comes in, and on offense you're going to be able to chew through another team before you ever need to bring in, you know, your 3rd or your 4th backup. So really those backups are pretty much unnecessary, but so what I'm saying is your 5-star is more than sufficient, and that's an excellent ship to use. Now you're trying to get in the top 50 here as well, and I noticed you're using Wedge and Poe in your initial lineup, so a couple attackers in the initial lineup, but you're kind of running a target lock team with Biggs, the TIE Advanced, and the Imperial TIE Fighter. So what we need to do is we need to switch this over to a complete target lock team, so that way Biggs gets a ton of protection regeneration and is constantly taunting, and it also allows for your Chimera to do his thing, which is debuff the other team, buff your team up, and then your first order TIE pilot can start to one-shot the opponent's ships. So to do that, you're going to need to keep Biggs in there, TIE Advanced in there, and the Imperial TIE Fighter, but then you're going to want to bring in the First Order TIE Fighter and the TIE Reaper. Now, when I looked at your TIE Reaper, I did notice that you are farming it. 4 stars is viable completely, but your abilities can't be leveled up until the characters are. And you Death Trooper and Shore Trooper are absolutely some of the best characters on the dark side. They're going to be usable in territory wars, territory battles. You're going to be able to use them potentially in arena from time to time if you're mixing up your team. Anytime you see a Night Sisters team, you'll be able to bring in your Imperial Troopers to just decimate the Night Sisters. So these 2 characters, plus they have the singular best ship in the game. This ship right here turns the tide in a battle for your side. Really phenomenal ship. It's really amazing. So you've got to get these 2 guys geared up, put them in your favorites, and make them your #1 and #2 priority for farming gear and also for farming their stars. Now, you're going to say, oh my goodness, Death Trooper is in Cantina, and that uses the same as energy for mods. Mods overrules his star rate. Keep him at 5 stars for now. Gear him up. The gear is going to be 65% of the equation as far as what he brings into the TIE Reaper. So let's make sure that you focus on gearing these 2 characters up, passively continue to farm Shore Trooper, and then when you feel like you have your arena team where you want it speed-wise, you can start to gear up the Death Trooper. But this is your missing link for your team. Also, for all the pilots that you have, you're going to want to gear them up. So everybody that I've suggested, you know, Biggs for the TIE Advanced, Darth Vader, you know, the TIE Pilot for the Imperial TIE Fighter, First Order TIE Fighter, the First Order TIE Pilot, of course the 2 I just suggested, and then, you know, of course Darth Maul for the Scimitar, Boba Fett for Slave 1, and then both for the Falcon. And the Millennium Falcon you have, which is pretty cool and pretty high up there because of your resistance. So your first 5 will be the Biggs, TIE Advanced, Imperial TIE Fighter, First Order TIE Fighter, and TIE Reaper, but you need to develop both the ship and those 2 pilots before you go sticking it in here, or it's just going to get blasted out and you're going to start losing even more than you currently are. And then overall, just gear all these pilots up and get their abilities maxed out. Get all of the abilities of all these pilots, especially your top 5, the 5 that I'm suggesting. You need their abilities maxed out and their gear maxed out, and that is really going to help you very easily get into the top 50. In fact, it should get you into the top 20, if not even the top 5. I run that exact lineup I suggested to you, and I have no problems getting #1 every single day. You've been playing a little bit less than me, and you should, if you get these characters, be able to do it. I know you're a dolphin, which means you don't spend a ton of money, but you do consistently invest a little. If you're going to invest a little every month, do it for energy refreshes, specifically for Cantina, specifically so you can get your characters that are in Cantina as well as mod farming simultaneously. You can never give up on that mod farming. So hopefully if you pick this ship lineup and develop the characters I told you, and for Arena get your speeds up the way I've told you, you will very easily be able to go back into your top 20, if not higher, on both regular Arena and ships. As always, if you guys have any suggestions for them, leave them in the comments down below. As always, keep your gaming on. Warrior out.